Oh, man. Incredible night for Jaylen Brown, just taking over the way he did, dominating, playoff career high, matches at 40 points out here. And I love what Joe Mazzulla had to say about his growth. He has that mindset, always wants to get better, never quite satisfied. And he was honest when he said, and I was hoping Joe would give us the real answer, and he did, when he said that the All-NBA snub, that's something that motivates Jaylen. That's something that you're going to see something like this after, less than 24 hours after that news dropped. And I think that everyone sort of knew that going into this one, but the way he continued to be consistent and also finding his guys, Joe Mazzulla bringing up he hopes that the NBA one day does the hockey assist or some sort of column.
Oh, God.
To address
assist that.
Potential assist. Yeah, he's hoping that it makes the box score one day, because Jaylen had a stack of them in this game, even though the box score shows he had 2 assists. So yeah, I thought it was a perfect game for him.
Go, John. Go.
Guys, the guys with high assist numbers also have a shit ton of potential assists too, right? The more you pass, the percentages eventually even out over time. And so sometimes those guys you pass to for open threes hit them, and sometimes they don't. But over a long enough timeline, the guys with the higher assist totals are finding more guys open. There's no secret here. It's not like you realize how unlucky you'd have to be to have this ungodly amount of potential assists and just people just happen to miss.
Yeah, but John, it falls into the philosophy. It fits Joe Mazzulla's philosophy. Move
the
that
good
ball
passers
because we don't want
and the high assist guys have them also. They all do. Everybody who passes the basketball ever to a guy who shoots is doing something that could result in an assist, and sometimes they don't go in. We know this. We got to leave the potential assists alone.
Okay.
There are some nights where the luck isn't on your side. You made 12 good passes to 12 open shooters and none of them hit it. Absolutely. But over a long enough timeline, it all evens out. It all evens out.
Yeah, but you got to translate that line to Joe Mazzulla's language, which is what it means is,
hockey
Tatum was
are
out
different.
there
We have
struggling.
a number for that. It's secondary assists.
Well, no,
so
I think it's more so of Tatum was out there struggling, and Jaylen wasn't saying to everyone, "Hey, just give me the ball and everyone clear the way." Obviously he wasn't in a pass first type of mood. He was in attack mode. But I think what he's trying to say is Jaylen picks his spots. Obviously, you look at his efficiency, which has always been sharp, but this playoff run has been it's the best we've ever seen from Jaylen. So I just think that's his way of saying, like, he could have easily been like, okay, time to go out and get mines. What, Tatum got 4 at halftime? This is my show. I feel like a couple years ago, maybe he does that, but he's come a long way. Obviously, we know how he has as a player overall, but I think in the heat of the moment, it's easy to get caught into it, right? Especially when you're on point, when you're scoring at a high rate, and the Indiana Pacers are just sort of like, you're not getting that sort of resistance that's going to slow you down. I mean, he could have easily got 50 out here if he really wanted to. I know it's a Jason Tatum line, but I just think that it really rings true when you think about the kind of game Jaylen put together, especially when Tatum, they didn't really have it until he kind of found his offense in that second half.
Look, one guy out there looked like he was absolutely the guy, and it was Brown. Every second he was out there. First quarter, the whole time. Again, you got dropped from the sky, and this is the first basketball game you've ever watched with these teams playing. You'd be like, that's obviously the team's best player. Like, Brown was that guy the whole night. He was the guy. And it wasn't even close. I mean, and again, in comparison to Tatum, who was just passive and inefficient for the first 2.5 quarters, Brown did everything. I mean, just the way he played, how aggressive he was, the reads that he made, didn't force anything. Again, there's nothing. Look, you want to nitpick? Everybody laid down a little bit at the end of that second quarter and kind of fell asleep on defense. And Brown had a couple of blow-bys. Tatum had one there. Other than that, Brown was, I mean, and it was pretty close to a perfect game. He was terrific.
Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Use the code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
He has been their most valuable player.
You did give him his flowers. All right, I want to make sure.
No, all game long. Are you kidding? He was the number one guy. It wasn't even close. Yeah. And you know what? He was the best player. Yeah. He saved their ass in game 1. and he's pretty much single-handedly won game 2 by being the man the whole time until finally everybody got it together and stretched it out. And yeah, other good performances too, Holiday and White for sure. But he's miles and away your clubhouse leader for conference finals MVP right now. And it's going to be hard
John
to get it.
called.
Which
John,
I called.
Wave the flag. Wave the flag, John. Go ahead. Wave the flag.
But he's on his way. I mean, shit. The very fact that I tweeted this earlier, going back to game 1, the Jaylen Brown causing the turnover and that 3 was almost dismissed for how ridiculous those plays were back to back. And how improbable they were, because everybody spent the whole time saying that the Pacers screwed up. God, I can't believe the Pacers blew it. And I said it was very likely. It was akin to the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl with the Malcolm Butler interception, where all anybody at that moment spent time is why didn't they hand the ball to Lynch? And they were talking about that. And I'm sitting there watching it guys, this was the greatest play in the history of championship sports. What aren't you seeing here? And Brown had 2 of those back to back rolled into one. It was, now there's a steal by Bird. It was a big deal. And the complexion of the series changes a ton if he doesn't make those plays. And he saved JT's ass in game 1 because he didn't have a great game. He got 10 points in overtime after Nesmith fouled out, and his stat line looked beefier than Brown, but Brown was the guy in game 1, and he was undoubtedly the guy in game 2. So he's been their best player by far.
Well, he saved them in that last minute, because look at those possessions, right? Whether you want to critique Tatum's jumper in the paint, what are we calling that? The 4-foot fadeaway, which I felt like in that moment, why not drive to the rim and get something more of a secure layup? And then he missed it, right? So I think if Jaylen doesn't make that shot, we're going to point to that, or we're going to point to the turnover, or we're going to point to late game execution overall, saying well, why does Tatum always have to be the guy? So yeah, I mean, Jaylen saved them in a big way in game 1. Tatum obviously answered the call in that overtime, but yeah, without Jaylen, I mean, none of that happens. And I feel like a lot of the time, especially from the national media standpoint, we spend so much time talking about what Tatum is doing, and maybe that has a lot to say with why Jaylen wasn't on one of these all NBA teams. I mean, it's kind of weird, isn't it? When you think about his numbers and the way the Celtics finished the season and just the consistency throughout, and listen, I get it. Some guys in there, they had a heck of a season, but in terms of consistency, I mean, in that third team, there's guys who just kind of dropped off a bit, especially after the All-Star break, and I think it was a snub, but I also think that Jaylen is not going to lose sleep over this thing. But yeah, to what Joe Mazzulla said after this game, it certainly played a part, and he responded to that snub in a big way tonight.
Yeah, it's snub or no snub. He's the type of guy who can get motivated by this sort of stuff, and I hate always doing the comparison, but I also love doing the comparison, so I'm going to do it. I feel like Brown will motivate himself. Tatum would have just been sad and then given a sulky post-game comment about nobody likes us. But Brown's all right, mother, I'll show. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay. He acts like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got it. It's a nut. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna put that one away, and I got it.
It's
he does.
It's like the nod.
Everybody said it at the same time. On Twitter, right after he got snubbed, everyone's like, "Oh, those poor Pacers," and it happened.
Yeah.
This is what JB does, though, and this is why him and I think Tatum are such good complements of one another, because you've got Jaylen, who's got that fire, that edge, that nastiness, and Tatum's got that ridiculous skill set. But the thing that, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, to me, that one of the most important developments in this game was Tatum's awareness, self-awareness, that I am not him today. I am not the guy that's going to get it done. Jaylen is. Let me slide just a little bit to the side here and give him the space to just dominate, because that's what he's doing. He is the one guy, and I said this earlier, that Indiana has no answer for. And I mean, not even close. No one has been able to keep him from getting to the paint. No one has been able to close out on him when he's looking to shoot his 3. And defensively, he's done I would say, a better than average job relative to his teammates. So at this point, he's your best player. And I think Tatum's ability to recognize that in this series, Jaylen is the guy. that should be leading this team, not me.
Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS and get $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Hey, Bowie Manning here. If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out our social media platforms at Celtics CLNS